Kael didn't wake up expecting company. He had just pulled a double shift fixing one of the external docking arms on the cargo freighter Iron Jackal. His body ached, his mind was foggy, and he was ready to collapse. He'd barely made it to his bunk before passing out. But now, someone was watching him. She sat there silently, cross-legged, back straight, and glowing faintly under the overhead lights like moonlight on ocean water. Her skin was smooth and purple, a soft lavender shade that shimmered slightly when she moved. Her hair was silver, flowing down her back like liquid metal. Her eyes, too big for a human face, glowed with a hue somewhere between blue and white. Kael blinked. Who? She raised a finger to her lips, a universal signal to keep quiet. Don't panic, she whispered. I'm not here to hurt you. Kael froze. His heart beat faster, but not out of fear. It was confusion, and maybe a bit of awe. He had seen many species in his years working the fringe routes, but none quite like her. I'm Lyra, she said softly. I need your help. He sat up slowly, rubbing his face. You're in the wrong bunk, Lyra. If this is some kind of joke, it's not funny. It's not a joke. I'm not even supposed to be here, yet. Kael frowned. What do you mean, yet? And how did you even get past security? She hesitated, looking down for a moment, as if deciding how much to say. I'm a diplomatic envoy. Or at least, that's what I was supposed to be. My ship was intercepted en route. I escaped. Kael laughed nervously. You're saying someone hijacked a diplomatic envoy and you just ended up here? I didn't end up here by accident. I came to find you. He blinked. Me? What? She leaned forward, her voice urgent. Because if I don't stop what's coming, your people, your entire species, will be dragged into a war you can't win. A long silence stretched between them. Okay, Kael said finally. I've heard some wild stories on this ship, but you've just taken the #1 spot. I don't need you to believe everything. Just listen, please. He sighed, standing and pulling on a jacket. All right, talk. But even as she started explaining, Kael's personal comm pinged. He glanced down at the screen and frowned. It was the ship's AI. Alert. Unauthorized life form detected. Status, classified cargo. Location, crew quarters B, Unit 9, Kael Duran's cabin. Kael looked up, slowly. Lyra met his gaze. You said you were an envoy. I am. Then why does the ship think you're cargo? Lyra didn't answer. Kael's mind raced. The AI didn't make mistakes like that, especially not on high-security vessels like the Iron Jackal. Every crew member, visitor, or object on board was scanned, logged, and cross-referenced with central registry databases. For it to classify someone as cargo, someone had made that happen. On purpose. Lyra, he said, his voice quieter now. How exactly did you get on this ship? I told you. I escaped. The diplomatic vessel I was on was intercepted. Our escorts were destroyed. I used an escape pod. Your ship was the closest friendly signal I could find. And the classified tag? I didn't assign that. She looked almost hurt. But someone clearly knew I was coming. Kael didn't like this. Not one bit. A diplomatic envoy showing up with no warning. The ship's AI tagging her as classified cargo. And now she was claiming a war was coming? He scratched the back of his neck and sat back down. He had questions, but he also had instincts. And right now, they told him one thing. She was dangerous, but not to him. At least, not yet. You need to start from the beginning, he said. No more riddles. What colony are you from? Why come here? Lyra nodded. Have you heard of Nithris? Kael paused. That's a myth. An old mining colony that disappeared. People say the planet fell into a gravity well or got glassed during one of the border wars. Nobody ever confirmed it. It didn't disappear, Lyra said. It was hidden. Kael narrowed his eyes. Hidden. After the collapse, the Nitherians sealed off their system, disconnected from the jump network, cut themselves off from the rest of the galaxy. They had to. We were different. Kael leaned forward. Different how? We evolved faster. In isolation. We developed biotech systems far beyond what the rest of the galaxy was using. We changed physically and mentally. Our bodies adapted. Our minds expanded. Some call it evolution. Others call it corruption. Kael swallowed hard. And you're one of them? I'm the daughter of Nithris's prime liaison. Which is, well, your equivalent of a high-ranking diplomat. I was sent to re-establish contact. To warn the other colonies. Warn them about what? Lyra hesitated again, and this time, Kael noticed something new in her eyes. Fear. They're coming. The ones who burned through the outer rim last cycle. The ones who destroyed Severin 12. The ones who erased the Dethari outposts without leaving a trace. You call them phantoms. We call them the Hollowed. Kael felt a chill crawl down his spine. The phantoms weren't even supposed to be real. Just ghost stories told in dive bars and lonely watch stations. They weren't even in the registry. They're real, he whispered. Lyra nodded. More real than you can imagine. And they're not just conquering systems. They're consuming them, turning everything into void. Why haven't we seen them? Heard anything? Because they leave nothing behind. They don't just destroy, they erase. Memories, data, life. They leave behind silence. We discovered a way to detect them early, through gravitational echoes and neural field disturbances. That's what my mission was. To give that knowledge to your people. But someone didn't want you to deliver it, Kael said quietly. No. And now, someone on your ship is trying to make sure I never leave. Kael stood up and locked the cabin door. If someone on the Iron Jackal really knew Lyra was here, and tagged her as classified cargo, that meant this wasn't just some galactic mix-up. Someone high up had overridden ship protocols. And that meant they had power. Real power. All right, Kael said slowly. Let's say I believe you. Let's say these Hollowed are real, and someone's trying to silence you. What do you want me to do? I need access to your long-range comm array, Lyra said. I have a transmission key that'll get through the secure relay network. If I can reach the Nitherian gate, I can send a pulse to warn my people, and maybe your own. That won't be easy, Kael muttered. You can't just walk into the comms bay and start fiddling with restricted systems. There are protocols, biometrics, guards. Hell, half the crew doesn't even know how to operate that equipment. I don't need to operate it. I just need to plug this in. She held up a crystal-like object, pulsing softly in her palm. Kael looked at it skeptically. What is that? A drive? Think of it like a seed. It carries memory, code, language. Once it's connected, it grows into a message. Right? An alien seed in the heart of our ship. That's not going to set off every alarm we've got. She gave him a faint smile. It's not meant to go unnoticed. It's meant to be heard. Kael sighed and paced the room. He'd gotten into trouble before. Smuggling scrap, hiding contraband, even disabling trackers for a bounty hunter once. But this was different. This could get him spaced. Or worse, blacklisted by every fleet from here to Earth. But there was something in Lyra's eyes. Something human. Something desperate. Okay, he said finally. I'll help you. But first we need to know who else knows you're here. Lyra nodded. How? The ship's AI logs everything. We'll access the core sublayer from maintenance. See who authorized your cargo tag. If we find out who made that entry, we find our mole. And if they find us first? Lyra asked. Kael looked at her. Then we better move fast. The maintenance shafts on the Iron Jackal weren't made for comfort. Kael crawled ahead, guiding Lyra through tight passages, weaving around pipes and exposed wiring. The ship's AI was smart, but not omniscient. It couldn't monitor every access port in real time. They reached the lower maintenance hub. Kael removed a panel, exposing the terminal node. He plugged in a tool and began bypassing the encryption. Let's hope the chief engineer hasn't updated her access codes, Kael muttered. Lyra stood watch, alert and tense. Are all your systems this vulnerable? Only the ones nobody thinks matter, he replied. Which is exactly why they work. The screen blinked to life. He began searching. I've got your ID tag, Kael said after a moment. It was assigned manually, sealed under a level 9 encryption lock. That's fleet-level access. Fleet, Lyra echoed. That means someone military? Or worse, corporate. Kael tapped further. The tag had been added 12 hours ago, just minutes after her escape pod docked, and the name attached to it. Kael stared at the screen. No way. Who is it? Lyra asked. Kael looked at her, stunned. Commander Ryvek, the captain of this ship. Kael stared at the terminal like it might change its answer if he waited long enough. Commander Ryvek, the man who ran the Iron Jackal like a warship, even though it was officially just a cargo freighter. The same man who told every crew member that secrets got you killed in deep space. Kael had never trusted him, but this doesn't make sense, Kael muttered. Ryvek isn't the sneaky type. If he wanted someone dead, he'd just shoot them and log it as a security breach. Unless he's not working alone, Lyra said quietly. Or unless this goes higher than just him. Kael unplugged the tool and killed the screen. We can't use the terminal again. If Ryvek's monitoring traffic, he'll know someone accessed the encryption logs. We need to move. Where? Somewhere he won't expect. I know a place. The hydroponics bay was abandoned this cycle. Most of the crew didn't even realize it existed because the food supply had been automated years ago. But Kael liked it. It reminded him of Earth, green things growing without wires or coolant. As they slipped inside, Lyra paused. You come here often? Only when I'm hiding from people who want to kill me, Kael replied dryly. She smiled. For a second, the fear left her face. You're not what I expected, she said. Kael raised an eyebrow. What did you expect? Someone colder. More selfish. Kael snorted. I've been called worse. She sat down on a bench surrounded by tall stalks of something leafy and blue. My people were taught that humans couldn't be trusted, that you only act when it benefits you, but you're risking everything for someone you just met. Kael shrugged. I've seen enough space to know one thing. When someone tells you to stay quiet, it's usually because they're hiding something worse than the truth. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Lyra asked, What do you know about Ryvek? Kael leaned back against a hydro tank. Ex-military. Used to run convoy routes for the Terra Federation. Saw combat during the Ganymede break. Lost half his squad. They say after that, he stopped trusting anyone who wasn't under his direct command. And now he's helping cover up a warning that could save millions? Or, Kael hesitated. He's trying to control it. Lyra looked up. What do you mean? What if he didn't tag you to get rid of you? What if he tagged you because he wants to keep you here, off the radar, so he can use your message when it benefits him? Her eyes widened. Weaponize the warning. Kael nodded. Or sell it. Use it to leverage power with the Central Alliances. Maybe even strike a deal with the Hollowed. She went pale. You can't make deals with them. They don't negotiate. They consume. Yeah, well, not everyone believes that. A soft beep interrupted them. Kael checked his wristband. An alert. Patrol sweep just got rerouted. They're coming down this corridor. Here. Someone knows we're not where we're supposed to be. Lyra stood up. Then we're out of time. Kael tapped a few commands on his band. I've got one more idea. But it's risky. How risky? He looked at her. Stupid risky. She nodded. Then let's do it. The cargo lift groaned as Kael overrode the security lock with a handheld scrambler. He and Lyra slipped inside just before the patrol rounded the corner. The lift doors closed silently, swallowing them in low red emergency lights. Comms deck. Kael muttered, tapping the destination. The lift jolted upward. Lyra's fingers tightened around the crystal in her hand. It was glowing brighter now, pulsing like a heartbeat. If they're waiting for us up there, they will be, Kael said. But I've got a surprise for them. Lyra glanced at him. Another scrambler? Kael shook his head and pulled a sleek, curved object from inside his coat. A pulse disruptor? She asked, surprised. Prototype, he said. Fried half my bunk when I tested it last month. But if I aim it right, it should knock out local sensors and maybe buy us 30 seconds. 30 seconds to reach the main console, upload a galaxy-changing warning, and not die, Lyra said. Kael gave her a crooked grin. Piece of cake. The lift slowed. A soft chime sounded as the door slid open. The comms bay was bigger than Lyra expected. Rows of flickering screens, humming consoles, and tall glass panels displaying real-time transmissions across dozens of channels. It felt like the nerve center of the entire ship. And it was empty. No guards. No engineers. Just silence. Kael stepped forward cautiously. Too quiet. They moved together toward the primary terminal. Kael cracked open the access panel, and Lyra reached out, placing the crystal into the socket. It shimmered, then melted into the system like water into soil. The screen came alive. Foreign characters bloomed, twisted, and reshaped themselves into readable data. Transmission initializing, Lyra whispered. Then a voice echoed from behind them. Step away from the console. They turned. Commander Ryvek stood at the entrance, a pulse rifle in hand. 2 armored guards flanked him. Kael raised his hands. You tagged her classified cargo. So you already knew. What now, boss? You gonna shoot us before she hits send? Ryvek walked forward slowly. You have no idea what you're doing. That alien isn't what she claims to be. Lyra stepped forward. You're lying. Ryvek's eyes flicked to her. Am I? Did you tell him about the Nytherian experiments? About what you really are? Kael frowned. What's he talking about? Ask her, Ryvek said. Ask her what her people did to survive their isolation. What they became. Lyra hesitated. Lyra, Kael asked again. What is he talking about? We didn't have a choice, she said. Our people were dying. The radiation storms, the genetic instability, we had to adapt. We used neural grafting, memory infusion. Some of us carry not just one mind, but dozens. Kael stared. You're saying you're not just you? I am Lyra, she said, but I carry others inside me. Strategists, diplomats, scientists. It's how we preserve knowledge. How we survive. Ryvek scoffed. She's not a messenger. She's a weapon. One you just handed access to our entire comm grid. Kael looked between them. Then why tag her as cargo? Why not report it to the fleet? Ryvek's face darkened. Because I was going to report it. Until I found out who she really was. He paused. She's not just the liaison's daughter. She's the key. The Hollow don't just want to destroy colonies. They're hunting specific minds. Minds like hers. Lyra's voice was quiet. Because I remember the war they lost. Long before your people knew they existed. The lights dimmed. A low vibration shook the floor. Kael turned to the screen. Transmission status, locked. External interference detected. Lyra's eyes went wide. They're here. Ryvek looked at her. What? They found me. They tracked the signal. A distant explosion rocked the ship. Alarms blared. The lights turned crimson. Alert. Hull breach detected. Kael stumbled as the floor vibrated under his boots. The ship was shaking. No. Screaming. Like something ancient had sunk its claws into it. We've got contact. A voice crackled over the intercom. Unknown vessel. No ID. No transponder. Just shadows. They're not responding. They're here. Kael turned to Lyra. Is it them? She nodded, pale. The Hollowed. Commander Ryvek's eyes widened. Then we're already too late. The two guards panicked and bolted. Ryvek didn't stop them. He was watching the transmission screen, still flickering with Nytherian symbols, frozen in mid-sequence. We can't let that message go through, Ryvek said. If they've already breached the perimeter, the last thing we need is a beacon inviting them deeper into Allied space. Kael stepped between him and the terminal. If we shut it down, they win. You saw what they did to Severin 12. There's no surviving them. The only shot we've got is warning everyone else. They'll tear this ship apart. Then we buy her time. Ryvek raised his rifle. Kael didn't flinch. You pull that trigger, and you kill the only person in the galaxy who might understand how to stop this. Lyra placed her hand on the console again. The signal is weak. I need more time. Kael looked at Ryvek. Then help us. Or shoot me. But do something useful. Ryvek's jaw tensed. Then, with a grunt of frustration, he tossed the rifle aside. If we live through this, I'm charging you both with treason. Kael smirked. Noted. The lights flickered again. This time, the metal around them bent. Like the ship itself was being whispered to by something wrong, something cold and ancient. Suddenly, the air turned still. And then, blackness. Not darkness. Blackness. The kind that eats light. That devours sound. It seeped in from the corners of the comms bay like ink in water, silent and endless. From that void, a shape formed. It wasn't a creature. It wasn't even something the brain could hold on to for long. It was just hunger wrapped in the memory of shape. Kael staggered back. Even Ryvek froze. Only Lyra stepped forward. She spoke. Not in English. Not in Nytherian. But in thought. A language not spoken, but remembered. Her voice layered with hundreds, no, thousands, of memories. She wasn't just a girl. She was a library. A weapon. A mirror of every fear and triumph the galaxy had ever buried. The Hollowed figure paused. For the first time in the history of their silent conquest, they did not consume. The console beeped. Transmission. Sent. Lyra collapsed. The blackness recoiled. And just like that, it vanished. Kael was kneeling beside her, shaking. Lyra? Come on. Don't you dare die now. Her eyes fluttered open. I'm here, she whispered. Ryvek looked at the console. What did you send? Lyra sat up slowly, her skin dimming from its radiant glow. A warning. A map. And a challenge. Kael frowned. A challenge. They don't understand fear. But they understand resistance. If we show them we remember, they can't erase us. The emergency lights turned back to amber. Systems rebooted. Kael stood up and looked out the viewport as the hollowed ship withdrew, slipping silently into the void beyond. They'll be back, won't they? He asked. Lyra nodded. Yes, but now the galaxy knows. And maybe, just maybe, That's enough to stop them.